Eagle Tribune Player of the Week, Eric Fairweather of Londonderry. Eric coming off another monster game. Seems to be par for the course for him. Big win over Merrimack. 378 yards of offense, 5 total TDs. What's gotten into you this year, Mr. Fairweather?
I mean, we've just been working hard all year, and we're ready to keep moving, keep winning. I mean, that's the goal.
How different is it from being a relatively anonymous wide receiver, although a very talented one, to be fair, last year, to the hotshot quarterback as a senior?
Yeah, I mean, we just put in a lot of work off season. I mean, my coach has been great, Coach Lozon. I mean, taught me a ton over the season about quarterback, who to read, everything. So, I mean, it's been great.
How did you make that transition? A lot of times you're a successful defensive back, all-state, and a talented wide receiver. How did the quarterback thing come up so late in your career?
I mean, I've played quarterback since I was a kid, so I always used to play quarterback when I was a kid. So, yeah, it wasn't anything really new, but yeah, it was a big change for varsity, but yeah.
Did you know you could step right up and be a dominant player, or there some concerns you might be
no,
stiff?
I was confident, but I mean, you have to be confident going into something like that, and you just have to keep working hard, and that's what we did in the off season. So
seems like a loosey-goosey bunch. You're coming off sort of a bit of a mediocre year last year.
Yeah.
Was it 4-6, I think, and this year, what, high flying, 5-1. Hysterical teammates all razzing you to the nth degree, where me and Dave Willis are cracking up as they're razzing you big time. What's the mood like on the team as you're winning big again?
Yeah, I mean, we're all happy. We just have to keep winning. I mean, we have to be. It comes down to these last 3 games. These last 3 games are huge for us, so we have to keep winning. Stay focused. That's a huge thing. So.
And a coach was saying a lot of neat stuff about you. Really doing a nice job for yourself in the classroom. None of the dumb jock stuff. Top 10% of the class. Where does that academic success come from?
I mean, my parents are always there for me, always pushing me to get good grades, do my best in school. So.
Are you looking to play college ball? I mean, you're putting up some great numbers.
Yeah.
I would think that. Are you a NESCAC type of kid, or that?
I've visited a couple NESCAC schools and also some D2 schools. So. Just looking around right now, not really sure where I want to go yet.
Your whole career, you've played with some very young coaches. Coach Rich was a young guy, and Coach Lozon, probably for Jimmy, for D1 in New Hampshire. I don't know, perhaps one of the youngest in history, although he was coaching a few years back. Was he 25, 26 years old? What's it like?
23 when he got the job, yeah.
Yeah, the previous job. Is that, what are the pros and cons of having such a really young coach?
I think it's almost all pros. I mean, you really get to relate with your coach. He knows you well. He can relate with you since he was playing high school football not too long ago. So, I mean, he really knows the guys. He really tries to get to understand everyone. And, I mean, I think it's been a huge positive. So.
He said that you really bought, I mean, we're all Fairweather fans. Sorry about that. But he said you really bought in early with working your tail off in the summer, saying, you know, I'm going to be the QB, and I'm going to win it, and I'm going to earn it, and that you were just sort of a workaholic from the get-go. What was sort of the mindset, saying, trying to get that job?
I mean, I just wanted the job. I wanted to play quarterback this year, and I just wanted to work hard all season to get to this point and just make playoffs, and we have to keep driving to get there. So these last 3 games are huge for us. So.
I know you're not able to look in front of people. It's the Bill Belichick rule that dominates football. Salem in a couple of weeks. What are your thoughts? You know, obviously you got to take care of business, but everyone's been talking for a while. It looks like it's going to be a showdown that the whole state's going to be caught up with.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge game. That's probably what it will come down to. But I mean, right now we have to just focus on Alvern. That's like the main focus right now. So.
A lot of good stuff, Mr. Fairweather. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
We're here with Pat Hughes, two-way standout lineman for Salem High and the Eagle Tribune Lineman of the Week. Pat, geez, we were really impressed with the nomination letter. Coach Pike said he just raved about your motor and raved about your two-way performance and the big win over BG. How important for a smaller guy is it to really have that high-level motor?
I just got to keep going and stay low.
What is the mentality? Football's a tough sport. You get tired. You're going both ways. Somebody's beating the tar out of you for 44 minutes or whatever it is. How do you keep on going when maybe you don't feel like keeping on going?
All the conditioning and work we do at practice, definitely.
Well, with Salem's fine young coach Rob Pike, trying to get a little background on Pat Hughes. Geez, Coach, we were taken aback a little bit. The nomination letter you sent for Player of the Week for Pat, you were just raving about him. Could you sort of repeat for us what type of special kid he is?
Yeah, he really is a special kid. You know, he works so hard with everything we do. He's a great practice player. He's going hard all the time. You know, he's not the biggest guy on the team, but he brings it every single play, and he's been invaluable to us all year.
What's it been like, a 5-1 start? 2 years ago, you were a starter on a winless team, Pat. Maybe the worst team in school history. Now you guys are 5-1. The talk of New Hampshire. Talk about the difference, the night and day difference.
It's awesome. Just got to keep putting in work at practice.
Did you ever see this coming, or has this stunned you?
Definitely.
What was it like beating BG? It's sort of a different program than it's been, but they had a 10, 12, 15-year run where they were probably, maybe with Pinkerton, the best program in the state. What's it like to beat them?
It was pretty good. It was fun.
What role has Pat and as a senior leader played in that tremendous turnaround?
No, he's been huge. I mean, first with his play on the field. I mean, he's an excellent football player, but also with his leadership and his leadership by example, he's been excellent.
What's up, Pat? Are you a one-sport athlete, or you do other sports?
I just play football.
And why did that? I would imagine there's a lot of the wrestling coach would probably kill to get you, and there's imagine you'd be good at track or something. Why did you decide to just concentrate on the football?
Football, it's just fun, like hitting people.
And what's the key for an undersized lineman to be a potential all-stater like Coach has said you very well could be?
Staying low and getting on somebody's hip.
And have you always been able to do that as how big were you as a first-year Pop Warner kid?
So I'm around the same size.
And have people overlooked you over the years because you're not a big guy?
Not really.
Not really? Okay, the heck with them. Now, how big are you?
5'6", about a 175.
Wow. And geez, Pat, Coach was saying that you're going through some tough times on the home front with your dad battling ALS, such a cruel disease. How have you and the family been able to cope with your father's struggles?
We're all right. We're doing good.
Is that important for you as a young guy to sort of be a little bit the man of the family?
Definitely.
What sort of maturity does it show to be able to compartmentalize and be a great football player while having to be dealing with some tough stuff at home?
Yeah, certainly a lot of maturity and a lot of mental toughness, and that's something we talk about as a team a lot, and Pat demonstrates it every day with what he goes through at home and at school and on the football field here. He is a mentally tough individual.
And how is football any therapy on that end? Getting be able to.
I'd say so.
What's the mindset we see out in practice? Everyone is going 110%. Playing for Coach Pike, the relatively new coach, a young guy. What's that like to have?
It's great. It's awesome.
Who's your line coach?
Coach Scavati.
And what's your relationship been like with him?
Oh, I love Coach Scavati.
And have you had him for all?
Since freshman year.
Okay. And do you remember that sophomore year? Was that real difficult? Were you playing against a 19-year-old?
It was hard, but we just kept working.
And what was the mindset that year? Things can go south pretty quickly when a team is struggling. What was that, a chaotic season, or did you guys manage to keep your heads up despite?
We kept our heads up because we knew winning was going to come for the next season.
It's still a ways to go, but everybody's talking about that potential showdown with you and Londonderry in a couple of weeks for a playoff berth. Obviously, you got to take care of business, but as a young guy, come on, you can't tell me you haven't looked ahead a little bit.
That's going to be an awesome game.
Any predictions?
We definitely got to win.
You heard it here first. Pat Hughes and the Blue Devils. Congratulations, Pat.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Eagle Tribune High School Football Show. He's still Mike Muldoon. I'm still Dave Willis. And we are still talking about an excellent slate of high school football games. Mike, I'm going to skip over Friday. I'm going to go right back to Friday. But I'm going to Saturday for what is shaping up to be the game of the week. A huge game, probably for the NVC small title, NVC Division II title. It is Tewksbury going to Haverhill Stadium to play Haverhill. Now this is obviously a big game for Haverhill, because as good as they've been, and they've been good, they don't have a statement win this season. The first chance they had at a statement win was Central. Obviously that didn't turn out well. This is a big game against the team that's been the power.
Yeah, they're playing some very good football. You know, so much is a product of your competition. They had the superpower versus Central. Didn't stack up. Was that a learning experience, or were they exposed a little bit as just sort of being good, but certainly not a great team? As you said, they have their chance to show what they're really made of. I think they throw a scare into Tewksbury, but Tewksbury's been rolling for a year and a half now. Coach Aylward has it rolling. The Sullivan kid is one of the elite in the league and beyond. Be a big task for Haverhill. I'd have to say that Tewksbury probably is the team to beat in this one.
Number 8 team ranked in Eastern Mass. I don't care. I'm going upset. I'm going Haverhill. That being said, Tewksbury's a great team. So we're split on that one. It's a good way to start the day. Now, all right. Now let's go back to Friday. We've got Methuen going to North Andover. North Andover obviously coming off the most heartbreaking loss to Lawrence. This could shape up to be an interesting game.
Yeah, it looks to be a pretty evenly matched club. In my heart, I'm thinking maybe North Andover. I like the way Tayshawn Watson is emerging as a big play threat out of the backfield. So I'm going to say Watson and the Knights take this one.
I would have to agree. This would be a huge win if Methuen could ever pull it off. I got to say North Andover's the better team in this one. So I'm going to go North Andover too. We go over to New Hampshire. Salem 5-1. They've been, they've bounced back well from that Pinkerton loss. Traveling to Merrimack, they're 2-4. Salem's the better team.
Yeah, it's two teams heading in the opposite direction. Merrimack's lost 4 straight, and Salem's playing about as good as anybody in the state. So you'd have to figure Blue Devils.
All right. Now, speaking of teams that are red hot, Pinkerton's still rolling. They're 6-0. They're traveling to Timberlane. Timberlane's made a lot of improvements, but not enough to keep up with this game.
Yeah, Justin Poitras playing some real good ball, the rugged linebacker for the Astros, so we'll go with Pinkerton in this one.
Yeah, Pinkerton definitely the pick in this one. Now we have Pentucket that's going to Saugus. Pentucket 2-3, coming off a tough loss to Masco. Saugus, they're red hot. They're 4-2. They've had some good wins against North Reading and against Triton. We joked about Saugus's weak record last week. Saugus is the team in this one.
Yeah, the schedule maybe hasn't been that great, but as they've played some tougher teams, they've kept on winning. Justin, speaking of which, no pun intended, Justin Wynn is a big winner for Saugus, and I think I'll pick Saugus in this one.
This is a big win for Pentucket last year on their way to the North Championship, but this isn't the same Pentucket team. Good team, but not as good. Okay, we go back to New Hampshire. We got Sanborn 2-3 going to Monadnock, also 2-3. Monadnock lost to Pelham. That's going to be my measuring stick to make me go for Sanborn.
Yeah, definitely a coin flip. Looking at the numbers, and they seem very evenly matched. I'll go with Monadnock as the home team.
Good call. Okay, now back to the Cal. We've got Triton traveling to North Reading. North Reading's hit a tough stretch. They've lost their last 3. Triton's 4-1, just beat up on Newburyport. I gotta go Vikings.
Yeah, that was a very impressive win. A lot of people in Cape Ann were river rival region were talking about that one, that it could be a close one, and Triton just flexed its muscles. So looks like they got a good club this year.
So we're both going to go Vikings in that one. Now we have Londonderry traveling to Alvern. A few weeks ago, people were talking like Alvern was a contender. We both knew differently. Londonderry is a contender. Mm-hmm. Lancers in a landslide in this one.
Yeah, the Eric Fairweather's having a terrific season, involved in 5 TDs last week and almost like 400 yards of offense. So he'll be a little bit too much for the Bronx.
You've probably seen the highlights that he gave me. He really looks good in some of those highlights. Yeah. Honestly. We round out the Friday slate. We've got Georgetown at 1-4, going to Amesbury at 0-5. Can the Indians get one for Port Coach Glenn Guerin?
Yeah, this is almost to salvage your season. I think maybe whoever loses this one is really going to be licking their wounds and saying it was one long year. I'll go with Georgetown.
I'm going to go Amesbury, just by that much. All right, we go back to Saturday. We've got Central. They're rolling, hosting Billerica. They're winless. Central, there's no evidence needed. Central's going to roll in this one.
Yeah, we all knew Mike Milano was one fine quarterback. That was a given. But he seems like he's kicked it up a notch. I would think he's a pretty legitimate state player of the year type of candidate if they keep on doing what they've been doing. So Milano and co, just much too much.
From the second half of the Andover game on, he has been absolutely unstoppable. Now, speaking of winless teams, we've got Whittier going to winless Greater Lowell. Wildcats playing some pretty decent ball. Got to go with Whittier in this one.
Yeah, it looks like 3 straight for the Cats.
Yeah. Okay, we've got Wyndham. They're averaging 45.8 points a game. I did the math, Mike. 45.8. We're 6 games into the season here. That's a pretty good evidence. They're hosting Pelham. This is going to be a tough one for the Pythons. Jaguars big in this one.
Jags big.
And now we go into the prep games. Interesting. The biggest game, the 2 top teams in the ISL. We've got Governors going to Brooks. They're fascinatingly similar.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the stats. Governors is averaging 30 points scored a game, allowing 17.5. Brooks is scoring 34.3, allowing 17.5.
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't read the same thing twice. I definitely made sure I read the 2. I talked to Coy Candelario today. Impressive kid. I'm going to go upset. I'm going Brooks.
Yeah, I don't think I can agree with you on that. But Brooks tremendously improved this year, as the record indicates. But ton of local talent on Governors, which has been rolling for several years now. Ryan Day of Hampstead, really talented kid. Zach Coffey, former Central Catholic kid from a few years back, 6'4" receiver with the great hands. Tyler Harrington, the bruising lineman from Haverhill. Just think that is a stacked club, and they're really one of those sort of elite prep schools, even though they don't have the huge enrollment. That's a lot of talent. I think I'll have to go with the Govs.
And we're going to close out the slate. We've got Phillips going to Suffield Academy. Phillips got a win last week. They're playing better. Suffield's 3-1. You got to think probably Suffield.
Yeah, Suffield has quite the tradition, and this year they got a 6'4", 295-pound senior in Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
I know BC is absolutely drooling over him and would do anything to get him. He might be the best player in New England, any division. So, say Christian Wilkins maybe wreaks a little havoc, and Suffield takes it.
Good stuff. Great way to end on a BC recruit. Okay, so that's it. I keep telling you. I keep saying it. Go see a game. Go see more than one game. Go see 2 or more.
You'll see Dave there if you do.
I will be all over the place. Thanks a lot.